Hi friends, welcome to Crack Grade B. We are back with yet another important lecture on the current affairs series that we are running in our YouTube channel. So as you all know that we have separated PIB and we have separated other current affairs, right? So this is the current affairs, not the PIB. PIB we have a separate video, we have the separate material. So let's begin with the current affairs from 10th of March to 20th March 2022. So let's begin. So the first piece of news article is the Payment and Settlement System Regulation 2008. Recently, this is very interesting. I'll tell you why. Recently, Reserve Bank of India made an amendment to a law enacted in the Parliament, right? Payment and Settlement System Regulation 2008. So remember this always that RBI has done it under this section. RBI under subsection 1 read with clause B to F of subsection 2 of section 38. This is very important. Section 38 of the Payment and Settlement Act 2007, 51 of 2007. Okay, so in this act, in this section, the RBI was given the power for an amendment, and RBI has amended what? Regulation 5, Regulation 6 bracket 2, and the schedule to Regulation 5 and Payment and Settlement System 2008. So here RBI has made the change. Now, why this change is being made? This change is being made. The amendment are carried out with the objective of reducing the compliance burden of regulated entities by rationalizing certain return prescribed in the PSS regulation. So it's basically PSS regulation means RBI is getting the power to control the payment system of the country, right? And in that particular law under section 38, RBI is given certain power to change, and that is what RBI has changed, and that is known as amendment, right? So let us get the key highlight. What is the actual change? So with this amendment, certain monthly, quarterly and annual return prescribed in the sub-regulation A to G of regulation 6 to have been discontinued. Means the regulated entity had to submit some monthly, quarterly and annual returns with the RBI, right? So this has been discontinued, and redundant operation guideline listed in the schedule to regulation 5 has been removed. So very important short point which you have to remember, right? Now what is payment and settlement system regulation? So as you all know, our current affair material covers everything from the basic to current, and that is what you can obviously witness here in this video. Next is regulatory framework for the microfinance loan. This would be, I would say, if one news has to be covered from this material, then this is that news. Okay, so there's a master direction issued by the Reserve Bank of India for microfinance loans. Now, what's the issue? The RBI has allowed microfinance institution the freedom to set interest rate they charge borrowers, but it should not be more than industry standard. Means initially they were given few rules and regulation. By following that, they had to charge the interest, but now they are given the free hand that they can decide their own interest rate to the borrowers, but it has to be, it cannot be rudimentary. So all of a sudden they will charge 20%, 25%, not like that. It has to be, there should be a match with the industry standard. Now, this will come in effect from 1st of April 2022 from the new financial year, right? Very important. Now, why this has been done? It will allow level playing field where lenders will have option. Also, it will expand the market opportunity. It will also cater the needy, and obviously it will increase financial inclusion. Then, applicable to all commercial bank, including small finance banks. So you can go ahead and read all the banks and NBFCs, including microfinance institution and housing finance company, but excluding payment banks, right? Excluding payment banks. So it's applicable to rest everyone. Now let's move forward and let's see what is there in the guidelines. So the regulated entity. So who are regulated entity? So these people are, because these are applicable to these people: commercial banks, local area banks, RRB, primary urban cooperative banks, state cooperative bank. So these are regulated entity. So these are REs. Then should put in place a board approved policy regarding pricing of microfinance loans, a ceiling on interest rate and all other charge applicable to microfinance loans. Then each regulated entity shall disclose pricing related information to prospective borrower in a standardized and simplified fact sheet. Means it has to disclose before it gives the loan. There shall be no prepayment penalty on microfinance loan. Let's say I have borrowed using this arrangement. Now I want to return the amount. So when I return the amount, there should not be no prepayment penalty. Okay, this is as per the RBI guideline. Then penalty, if any, for delayed payment shall be applied on the overdue amount and not the entire loan amount. Let's say I have 3,000 EMI and I have outstanding of, let's say, 60,000. So whatever penalty for any delayed payment would be charged on this delayed amount, the 3,000, not the overall amount. Okay. Then any change in interest rate or other shall be informed to the borrower well in advance, and this changes shall be effective only prospectively. Right? RE would have to put in place a mechanism for identification of borrowers and facing repayment related difficulties, engagement with such borrowers and providing them necessary guidance about the recourse available. So everything REs will do, means regulated entity. Now, what is a microfinance loan? This is very important. A loan given, collateral free loan given to a household having annual income up to 3 lakh rupees will be known as microfinance loan. Earlier, the upper limit was 1.2 lakh for rural borrower and 2 lakh for urban borrower. Now, this has been increased to rupees 3 lakhs for entire country. So, I hope this is clear. Then, the next one, green transition risks to Indian Bank, right? So, this has come up in the monthly bulletin, March bulletin of the RBI, where it has studied it had studied that net zero shift. Now, what is net zero shift? So recently, you know, in COP26, the Indian Prime Minister has made this 5 commitments from Indian side, that it will be net zero emission by 2070. Okay, then non-fossil fuel capacity of 500 gigawatt by 2030, to meet 50% of the energy requirement from renewable sources, reduce total projected carbon emission by 1 billion tons, and to cut the carbon intensity of the economy to less than 45%. So now RBI has studied all this. If this is applicable in the country, then what is the challenge in the banking sector, or what is the impact in the banking sector? So in the month of March, in the March bulletin of the RBI, it said that net zero shift may have less impact on banking. Means more or less there won't be any impact. Got it? So now you can go through it once. That would be more than enough. Rest, whatever is important, I have already explained to you. Now let's move forward and see. Here are some critical data. For example, you know, the ratios are varied. Like the ratio varies 17% in Punjab to 0.1% in Odisha. So just go through it, you will understand what this is. Credit deployment. Now let's move forward to monthly state of the economy report by RBI. Again, this is an extract from the same report. As per the monthly state of the economic report by RBI, the economy is experiencing spillovers as it recovers from the third wave of COVID-19. So yes, this is very much understandable, but you can go through it. The key highlights from the report, this is what RBI has to say. Means this is the RBI's view. So obviously, this becomes important when, so even if you don't read for your phase 1, that's fine. But if you miss for phase 2, then mark my word, you are missing some very important arguments of this particular thing. See, this spillover, this is something from the report. Okay, so we did not use this word intentionally. This was from the report. So what if a question, something, you know, pops up in the phase 2 descriptive, then this kind of, you know, analogy will absolutely make your answer beautiful. Then rupee dollar swap. Okay. So I think you already know it, since you know that war between Russia and Ukraine is going on, and at times the dollar went 77. Right now, RBI has to manage this. So what RBI did? RBI has swapped rupee and dollar. So if RBI wants to bring this price down, as per the theory of demand and supply, what RBI will do? It will increase the dollar supply. It will what it will do? It will increase the dollar supply. Increase the dollar supply, and that is what it do. Recently, the Reserve Bank conducted a USD $5 billion rupee swap auction as a part of liquidity management initiative, right? So it will the central bank buys dollar from banks in exchange of Indian rupees and immediately gets into a opposite deal with banks promising to sell dollar at a later stage. So what RBI did? The RBI sold USD 5.135 billion to banks and simultaneously agreed to buy back the dollar at the end of swap settlement period. So immediately in the liquidity system, US dollar 5.135 billion is with the banks now, means is pumped into the economy. What? US dollar means what did RBI do? RBI has increased the supply. Eventually this price will come down based on the theory of demand and supply. This is very simple. Now you can go through this data, so you will understand few important points. And with this, let's come to next one. Let's come to the next one, and that's about inflation. So inflation hits 8-month high in Feb, and that is 6.07, right? 6.07. And this 6.707 is driven by what? Is driven by foods and beverages, clothing, footwear, and fuel and light goods, right? And what was but what about WPI? It's 13.11% in February after declining 2 consecutive months. So only this much was, and the important thing. Next come NPCI launches on device wallet feature, right? So this is also very important piece of news. Again, I would change my statement. I told you that if you had to remember just one piece of news from this entire document, then it's the microfinance loan. But again, I would tell that would be a wrong decision to read just one. You should read this as well, because this is also as important as that microfinance loan. Then NPCI launches on-device wallet feature. So this is a new feature launched by the NPCI. Why NPCI? Because NPCI is the organization that manages UPI network and also the RuPay card network, and it is known as UPI Lite. Now, what it is? Simply, why this is done? So that there is no pressure on the banking system. What happens is that, look, recently in the month of Feb or month of Jan, a data has come that below 500, what happens? I'm telling you. Let's say you go out to buy a cup of tea or coffee. So you pay 50 rupees, 100 rupees through UPI. Okay, I also do that. So even if I pay 50 rupees or 500 rupees, the pressure on the server side for both bank and NPCI, the cost involved would be same. But the data has come up which says that short, small amount transaction are huge in number. Means bank and NPCI is incurring the cost. So what NPCI is doing for an amount under 200, okay, you will have to add fund in the UPI Lite wallet and you can make this payment, so that there is no pressure on the banking system. Because when you are paying 10 rupees, 50 rupees, 100 rupees, 150 rupees, you are paying from the wallet, and when you are adding the money in the wallet, it's just one time pressure on the server side. Okay, so I hope this is clear. The upper limit as of now it's 2000, but yes, this can certainly change. And when this will launch, even NPCI is not sure about when it will launch, but yes, certainly when it comes up, you will get to know through our current affair material and our YouTube channel. So I hope this is clear. Then let's move to the next one. Factory output. Factory output grew just 1.3% in January despite favorable base. What is favorable base? Favorable base means the comparative period. So this is Jan 2022. So comparative period is Jan 2021. So maybe the data was very much less in Jan 2, means the value was less. That's why in percentage term it should go, it should it should come high. So that is why it's written favorable base. Now you can go through the IIP data, right? But more or less this much depth data is not required, but yes, still going once or twice would make you smarter than from an average guy. So absolutely you should, and that is why we have kept. It's not for not for just putting content. So we have a reason. So that is what we are telling, right? So absolutely, this data no one can remember, and even we are not asking you to remember. But why we have put, at least you go through it one times, two times, or three times, so that you become smarter. You will understand when you read this kind of data multiple times, you know, and when you build an habit of reading this kind of data, eventually over a period of time, you will have a very good understanding of the economy. What needs to be remembered is 1.3 in the month of January. That's it. Let's move forward. Unemployment data again. So this was released by MOSPI by the NSO. NSO, PLFS, periodic labor force data. So joblessness rate is 12.6 in the April-June 2021. Rest again, you can go through it. What is the status of person 15 year and above, what's the status for the urban area, what's for the rural area, what's for the male, what's for the female, which you can go through it. Then let's move forward. Since you all know, we bring the static part as well. What is labor's force? You don't have to hunt the ESI material or Google. It's there in the current affair material. What is PLFS? Again, you don't have to hunt Google or the ESI material. You already have it here. Okay, let's move forward. Telangana Crop Diversification Index. Look, this is a news from a state, but this is very important because this is first of its kind where crop diversification pattern has been, brought out in the public in the form of an index by government of Telangana. So this is very, very important. Now, which are the top three districts? So this kind of data is not important for RBI, but yes, what you should know is that this is first kind of data being brought out by government of Telangana, and according to it, 77 varieties of crop grown in Telangana. Rest you can go through it again two times, that would be enough. Okay, so let's move forward. Market capitalization. Now this is one of the very much important news, but certainly this can change. Okay, because when the market is open, you don't know how things go up and down and can change. So recently what happened is that India is now into the top 5 club in terms of market capitalization. Which market? The capital market capitalization. Okay, number 1 is USA, number 2 is China, third one is Japan, fourth one is Hong Kong, number 5th is India. Then you can see. So yeah, this can change because see, as of March 10, this is the status. But as of start of 2022, means month of January, mostly it was this. The India's rank was number 7. So you can go through it. Then let's move to the next one. Change in GST system. Auditing officers lose adjudicating notice under GST system. Right? So yes, you can go through this news and you can read by yourself. This is nothing. Now, very important, World Happiness Index. This was given by United Nations Sustainable Development Solution Network. This is published in 2011. Frequency is annual. Ranked 146 countries based on 2 key ideas. What? Happiness or life evaluation, identifying key elements. Okay. So what is India's position? India saw a marginal improvement in its ranking, jump from 136 spot to 139 a year ago. Means the rank of India is 136, which you have to remember. Top performer Finland, followed by Denmark. Now, worst performance is the Afghanistan. Okay, so let's move. Then this is one of the important news, abortion care. Right, so a new abortion care guidelines has been brought out by the World Health Organization on March 9, 2022. Okay, so you can go through it. Status in the report, why they are bringing out, and what is the guideline. Absolutely, the guidelines are not that much important, but yes, since health is directly there in your syllabus, just reading it 3 to 4 times would give you, very good. Yeah. But what you should know is the static part of WHO is already there. You can go through it. Then, maternal mortality in India. So, as per the maternal mortality, the Kerala is the best state. Where it is? Okay. Kerala is the best state. Okay. Then let's come back to what is MMR. Who gave this? This data was given by Registrar General of India under Ministry of Home. Okay, so as per WHO, maternal health is the health of a woman while pregnant or 42 days of termination of pregnancy. Okay, so very important definition which you should know. MMR of India declined by 10 points. It has declined from 113 to 103 in 2017-19, means 8.8% decline. So there are few important data which are very important. Okay, so this is about the nation which you should go through it. This is about the India's neighbor which you should remember, and then this is the state specific data. Absolutely the best state is Kerala, which you should remember. While yes, and you don't have to remember everyone, but yes, Kerala followed by Maharashtra, Telangana, Tamil Nadu, Andhra, Jharkhand and Gujarat. So these are some of the best states. Let's move forward and let's see what is MMR. Definition is already there. So with this, I think we have come to the one-liner. So one-liner, as you know, we do not discuss, but yes, there are very important points in the one-liner as bank. Like, Paytm has been debarred by the RBI for onboarding of new customers because it has found some error in its IT system, and RBI has issued this guideline under the power drawn from section 35A of the Banking Regulation Act 1949. So you can go through all these things. So with this, we have come to the end of this lecture. We wish you very good luck from Team Grade B. Happy and thank you learning.